So here we're looking at the game scenario of using the player who's going to win you the game. So we're looking at how are they going to get on the ball, what they're going to do. It's really based on decision making, and the coach is coaching them through making the best decisions. They're the two areas we're looking at. So for this one, we're going to look at what is a good example and the key areas around that, and then areas where it will go wrong. So we're getting broken down in the game, because this is the ideal scenario we're looking for. It's never going to happen game in, game out, because that's football. We need to try and increase the chance of this working, and that's all it is. It's just keep increasing the chance of this working, rather than being, say for example, without any training, maybe it works at 5%. We're trying to boost that up. We don't know what level it's going to get to. Maybe 15 is a great percentage of the amount of attacks or ways of it to work. So I hope that makes sense what I'm saying. It's all about these little percentages and just keep increasing it, just like continuous improvement. So let's have a quick look and we'll run through. So for example, we're looking here, ball gets played out from the back. We want to play out from the back, and how is this going to work? So we've highlighted here the number 10. They're off the striker, we'd say is a cam roll. We're looking at someone number 10. It could be a striker who plays deeper, but it's important it's not the main striker. So number 9, we need someone up there, and the other two supporting players as the wingers. That's why we're looking at this from a 4-4-2. It could easily be a 4-3-3, and the attacking centre mid, perfect for that role. So it can be either it can be any way, because realistically when this number 10 drops in, it does turn into a 4-3-3. So all these formations, the formation itself doesn't matter too much, because they're always changing and developing, so that's not as important here. So as we go, ball goes out to number 3, number 10 makes his movement and exploits that pocket of space. Important that number 3 is aware of looking for that ball, because if they're just focused on getting it to number 11, they won't even see number 10 here. They need to be having a good scan up the pitch and looking for the most direct pass that's going to make the pass. It's going to be slightly risky if they're trying to exploit the space. It's always going to be risky, but they need to be confident, and that's something the coaches need to really drill in, that they're willing for them to make the mistakes to do that risky pass. They have to be given the confidence to do that on the ball. So a lot of times, if players lose the ball, they're hammered for it, and that's just the old style of football. I think there's a new generation of football coming through. Managers like Klopp, Pep Guardiola to a degree, managers like that, where they're really getting behind the players, and it's not any more telling off, oh you need to stop doing this. It's positive reinforcement, and that's what we're here, are a firm believer of positive reinforcement. So number 10 comes into that space, number 3 plays a great direct ball. We'll speed this up a little bit, gets on the ball and he turns straight away. Rather than being worried about number 8 and possibly being the safe option of just getting the body in the way and going backwards here, no, turns straight away and attack. This is perfect. Number 8 not catching up. So this is perfect. That's exactly what we want from number 10, to get the ball and turn in between the lines here. We've cut out 6 players here. This is exactly what we need. It's not always going to be as simple as this, and it may not always be as straightforward. They're going to be players are going to be sort of like jagged, where some 8 may be back here or 4 may be back here. You're still taking out 5 or 6 players from the game. So on to the next phase. This is the important part. So getting on the ball is crucial. It's the first phase. Second phase is the player winning you the game. That's the point we've made of this. How to create a player that wins you the game. This is the point. This is where they're going to win you the game. If the player gets the ball here, plays in behind, poor pass or bad decision, they're not going to win you the game. If they do that too often, you're going to waste, because you don't get many of these per game. You only get a certain few, so you need to take advantage of them. So here, the space in behind is the most important bit you're trying to exploit. So number 11, number 9 and number 7, they need to be making the most of this space, making good runs. But number 10 is the most important one, because he's got to find, or she has got to find those runs. So movement of the ball, and they're making their runs. So here, the gaps in between, which we call the passing lanes, these are the bits we want to be exploiting. The space in between. It's right, an over the top ball. If it's an over the top ball that, say, stops here, bounces, the player's got to run through, take a touch, make sure it's under control, then shoot, with the keeper coming out, with the defenders, you're reducing that chance. So what you want is these passing lanes where a ball can go on the floor, in between here, possibly over the top here, maybe that's where it would, but if you was driving with the ball a bit more in between on the floor, that's what we'd be looking for ideally. Obviously there's times where you're going to need, say these two are blocked off, over the top ball, so here number 7 comes in. It does need to be done sometimes, obviously, but ideally we're looking for on the floor, take one touch and shoot, or maybe not even need to take a touch if the ball is perfect. So as it moves on, so here, the longer you leave it, and this is important to explain to the players, is the longer they leave it, the longer they're running with the ball. And we've noticed a lot in games of good semi-pro standard football. The players, they're really good players, really good technical players, clever players, but they hang on to the ball for too long, and the gaps get smaller and smaller, and then they're giving themselves an impossible pass to play. It needs to be pinpoint accuracy that the players in the Premier League would be able to make, and even sometimes not able to make. So the longer you leave it, the better position these defenders are going to be in, the more likely they're going to cut it out. So it's important to play at the right time, early. Early is the best. So here we go. Passing lanes are still open enough. Played the ball down the middle. Great pass. And then finishes it off. And that's perfect. That's what we're looking for. So now we're going to go back and we're going to have a look at areas where this could be broken down and not be as effective. So if the movement from the attacker is poor, so from this player trying to get on the ball, the player that's going to change you the game, going to win you the game, if he's going forward, look at it, could get it through as we see it move, but he's got to make this movement away from sort of the areas where it's being blocked off, of the chances that number 8 could come in and intercept. So it was a poor movement to start off with. We've changed that and just shown you moving into that space. He's now changed the position of the run, and that means they're able to get on it. So poor movement will stop the player even being able to get on the ball. So the next one is less effective decision making. Here the player can turn and run, as we saw in the previous example, but if they were to choose to pass here, which a lot of players will do, they'll pass it off straight away, then doing a sideways pass is not effective. You're not making effective decision making, and this is something that needs to be trained into the players. Certain players will be able to do this, but it's about developing this. Even if they're able to do it, they can always do it better and more consistent. And that's the initial decision making. So poor movement from teammates. If the teammates don't know where to run, then they're not making those good runs. Doesn't matter how good the player on the ball is. There's only so much they can do. So as we move this along, players make a better run. Number 9 is going to make a good run here, and then it's going back to the player who's going to win you the game. If it's a poor pass and poor decision making, from that final killer pass, it's going to be, the whole thing is just going to be useless, because you're going to get to that stage, you've pushed men forward, and then you're susceptible to the counter attack. So it's really important. This last one here is the most important one. It's once the players are in the ball here, because this player could get on the ball from anywhere. It could be a goal kick that, say the green team, long goal kick. Obviously they won't be set in this exact position, but just for example, number 8 wins the ball, heads it down to number 10. 10 turns, again in this position. Again, there's hundreds of examples you could use. It could happen all over the pitch. Getting this point, and a poor pass, poor decision making, lose possession, and the attack has ended. And then you're back to square one. This is where you need to drill into the players positively, showing them what they need to be doing, the best decisions to be making. Maybe in this area, it's better to hold onto the ball more and drive with it. they would drive with the ball and wait for maybe number 11 or number 7 to come in, because these gaps are massive. These are the perfect gaps to exploit. This space here just isn't, there's not enough space here for number 9 to get on the ball. So maybe run with the ball and pass it wide, or shoot. So it could be any of those. Okay, so here is the training exercise 3v2 final pass. So for this one we're looking for the player on the ball, so number 1, who will be any of the midfielders or attackers, most likely the cam, but could be any of these players, and we're looking at focusing on them making that final pass. So for this exercise you want to be running through this training with the same person being the one making the final pass, being that player who can win you the game, because you want to keep drilling it in, and then swap it round and get another person on that. But if you just do one and then turn it around, change players, there's not enough time. So doing 3 in a row at least, perfect. The more the better. But obviously it depends how long you've got for this. So, and also you could get multiple groups going. You could easily have, as you can see, here's half a pitch set up, so you can have the other half as well. Have 4 groups rotating, and yeah, you can have a bit of time off to watch the other team and learn from it, and then a bit of time on. So just one off, one off. One off, one on. Perfect. So the rules for this one is the attacking team have 10 seconds to score. So this makes it a bit more game realistic. That they can't just dawdle about and just pass, sideways pass, backwards pass. They have to go forward, and they have to do it quickly. If you find that 10 seconds is too much or not enough, adjust it as you need to. The second one is, to score, the attackers must either shoot from area 1 outside of the box, or 2, pass the ball to a teammate running into the area 2, which is inside the box. This is the main point. We want them to do this ideally. Maybe a 5-to-1 ratio we'll be happy with, because that's the idea of the training, is number 1, finding those balls through, but then also having that awareness to, oh, this is a chance I can shoot. So if they do pass the ball through to area 2, they need to have a first time finish, which means it's more realistic for the attackers, because if they're just taking touch, they know the defender's not coming in, it's just not going to be game realistic. They need to have that first time shot, as they would in the game, quickly, and catch a keeper off guard. The third one is defenders are not allowed, as I mentioned a second ago, they're not allowed in area 2. This is so that they keep a higher line, so there is actually space in behind them, which makes it more game realistic. If they're able to go back, then it just gets pushed further and further back, and the passing through just isn't as realistic. So from this exercise, the player development is, the first one is decision making, of course, and it's for the final shot or pass, which I mentioned earlier, knowing which one to do. So this is a perfect opportunity for the coach to be on the side, see that they make a pass, gets intercepted, and then they bring it back, they stop it, and they explain, okay, look, you went for this option, but this other option was open, so next time make sure you are aware of all the options, because players, they're going to be in the game, in the training, but do you know what I mean, they're going to be focused in what they're doing at the time, and they may not see the run from the wide player on the right hand side. They might only be focusing on the left or to shoot, and the coach needs to be able to open that awareness and enable them to see, okay, I need to broaden my option to make sure that I'm aware of all the different options I can use, and then to make that decision. Number 2 is the passing or the shooting, so the end product, the accuracy of it. So it's all good getting in those positions, it's all good knowing the right pass to make, but can you make it? And it's keep failing, keep making passes that get intercepted, but keep going and keep pushing the players to not worry about that, but just next time, what did you learn from it, and what you're going to do differently to succeed. The final one is the movement from the teammates off the ball, to get on the ball or to create space. So this is crucial, because without any movement, then the 2 defenders are going to have such an easy time. They're just going to sit in the middle, block off the passing lanes, and it's probably going to be long distance shots. So the wide players, and if the example is changed and it's, say, number 3 starts with the ball and number 2 on the sides, it needs to be short, sharp movement behind. They need to know to bend the run, and also to start off jogging, doing a quick, maybe a 75 pace, and then it turns to a sprint, catch the defenders off guard, and then as soon as that turns to a sprint, player needs to play the ball through. So yeah, we're going to carry this on. I would say for this training, you'd be looking at, I would give it a good half an hour. I'd do it into 3 different blocks, 10 minutes, little rest, 10 minutes, little rest, 10 minutes. And that's going to be perfect time for in between those 10 minutes for the coach to get watch the training, see what's going well, see what's going wrong, praise them for what's doing well, and tell them to keep it up. They want them to keep doing that. And then just a few areas, maybe 1 or 2. Don't pick, if you see 5, don't pick 5. Pick just 2, 1 or 2, and get them to improve on that. And then you got another 2 opportunity. Well, I suppose you got 1 more opportunity because of the last one. But still, you could, even when the training's done, let them know, and then they know for next time. This is a training you'd want to do this more than once. This is something you need to do multiple times to get this drilled into them, and just so it happens unconsciously, really. They're not having to think about it, and the more they think about it during the training, it's just going to happen unconsciously. So let's get going with the training. These are 3 examples of what we're looking for. I haven't included any stray passes, but it's good to see what we're looking for, and we can go into more depth on that on other videos, and I'll try to explain where things have gone wrong. I hope I've explained enough on what could go wrong anyway. So here we go, 2 and 3, running off the ball. Number 1, making a lot of space. So here they've dragged him away. 1 and 2, and this could easily happen in the training session where 1 or 2 are too concerned with the 2 wide players. So this is a good opportunity for them to learn as well, because here they're too concerned with the 2 wide players, and this does happen a lot in games, of course. They're too worried about those players not going to the ball, and they're just leaving the gap for him to just run into and shoot, and that's what he does. So it's way too late now to start coming in to try and block it, and yeah, they'll learn for next time. It's not a terrible thing. It's good. You want them to keep failing. Like, that's good that this has happened, because if it doesn't happen here, it's going to happen in the game. And you can train this now for the games. So they didn't go close. If I was a manager, as they're running back to set up, I'd be like, guys, what did you learn from that? And they'll be like, well, they may not know. It's much easier to see this on the side and just explain, okay, you do need to hold the line, you need to block the line, but you also, the man on the ball is the most dangerous person, so you need to make sure that you're stopping that. So quick transition back and then go again. So that's what we want, a real quick transition here. They're a bit tighter, but they managed to play that ball through really good ball, direct. It was a curved run as well by number 2. So again here, quick transition back, finally going again. Made the inside run here. He's taken 2 a bit wider. He or she curved the run there. I'll go back to show you. So this is what we want here. Curve the run to make space, because this could be in between. These are going to be the 2 centre backs most likely. Obviously it's a smaller area, so it can't be as accurate, but most likely here this is a centre back. There is a defender here, probably a wide person here, so this could be a left winger and a striker. Making that run like this and then back out, you just make that gap here to then receive the ball. And this is a really good one for strikers to do. That inside run and then back out, checking your run a bit. Player sees they can pass the ball straight to you. They don't need to be in behind anyway, just straight to your feet, and you run on the ball and finish it off. So that is the end of the training exercise. So here are some examples of how the attacks could progress once training sessions have been implemented and players are learning the movements to make, the better decision makings, and focusing around the player that you want to win you the games. This sounds like it could be aimed at just one particular player. This can be done with all players, especially the ones who are going to be making the passes, the final passes into them. So this could be any of the midfielders and the wingers as well, and the strikers, crucial. Defenders not as much, it's the midfielders and the attackers. This can be done with any of the players, and just need to be relevant to their area of the field. So if it's a 4, they need to be drilled in of making those passes into the strikers, into the attacking players, and then occasionally this style of it where they're making those final through balls. So this can be done with any range of the midfielders or the attackers. So we'll play this one along. So again, similar to the previous example earlier in the video, number 10 comes in, good movement, receives the ball, 11 makes a run in and then out. So good movement there. 9 continues his run and finishes it off. And as you can see, 10, the player we're focusing on, he has continued his run. There could easily be a cutback here. So it's really good, hard working, good decision making, and good passing. Perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. Number 9 scores. Okay, and here is the next example. So here again the build-up play is similar. This could be from anywhere on the pitch. Number 10 comes in, gets the ball, and now we're looking here. 7's too far away. 11 making a run down the wing. Not yet anything there. Looking at it, I'd be like dribble with the ball. Also, in dribble with the ball, number 9 making a good run here. And the early balls are the best ones when you're catching those defenders earlier, because they've got to have a look, see where the player they're marking is, and also focus on the ball. So if you're holding on for the ball for too long, they're able to keep getting that, looking over their shoulder, getting a better idea of the pitch. You're giving them time to analyse the situation and figure out, oh, he could be attacking this way, or he might attack this way. He's preparing himself, or she, and it's really important to get those quick balls through. So this example shows just a really quick ball. Number 9 makes a run straight through. Easy, no build-up play needed, just straight through, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Sometimes those are the best ones because you're catching them off guard, and especially with teams that like to keep a high line, that's exactly what you need. And also, one to remember is the longer you leave it, if your striker makes that run, the longer you leave it, the more likely they're going to be offside. There's a really fine margin for when that ball needs to be played. So developing these training sessions that I've shown previously in the video, those will develop relationships, partnerships between the attacking players, and that's exactly what we want. The more the players play together, the more they see the runs, always made that run, a bit of eye contact. That's what's important for the coach to develop. It's get that understanding and that awareness between the players, and the more that grows and develops, the more likely these runs are going to be seen, the passes are going to be made, they're going to know firsthand what they need to do and how their mate's going to make the run, all sorts. And it's just really developing that with the players, and it just over time it's really going to help the team, and the goal efficiency is going to increase so much more. Okay, here is the last example of the attacking build-up play through using the player that's going to win you the game. So again, build-up play starts as it was before. This movement towards the ball, crucial. One thing I didn't previously mention is the defender with these situations really doesn't know what to do in these situations. A lot of them, I would say a good 80% plus, will stay in their position like this. You will get a few that come with the striker when they're dropping this deep, but it leaves such a big gap for these other players to exploit. If that does happen and 5 follows 10 really tightly, there are a couple of things that the players could react to do, and this is what needs to be mentioned to the players during the training sessions and looking and explaining. So if this happens, these are things you need to be thinking about. So before they happen in the game, they're already aware of an idea. They have an idea of the decisions they should be making. So it's really important to do this with the players in the training session before. So just for example, say 5 does come with 10, there's a massive gap here, and number 9 can easily exploit this. Number 3 could then do a really long ball all the way through into this area here, 9 run on, and you're in the final third really quick, just one straightforward pass. Alternatively, 3 could still pass into 10 with 5 on his back, but it needs to then be a first time pass or a really quick pass, either into the 11, possibly the 8 running forwards. So this is where the player isn't going to be able to turn and move because the 5 is there, unless they're able to beat the man with a quick turn or something like that. But ideally we wouldn't promote this. We'd want in that position, we want to keep the ball, we don't want to increase the chance of us losing the ball. In that situation, it'd be very likely you'd lose the ball if you're trying to take on the player, because they're just going to 8 as well could come in and just consume the space between around the number 10. So just a quick fire ball into the 11 or 8 and then move again, and again this space here is wide open for a pass through to number 9 or to drive into the space. So we'll play this video on. Again, 10 gets the ball, good movement, and Everyone's making a good run. All three attackers are making good runs forward, pushing the defence backwards. At any point, 10 could go in between here for 11, or possibly a curveball round for 9, or even a ball here, as previously shown, and straight forward in. But again, this is what's important with the training session, to develop this. If the player, you need to develop their IQ, their understanding of the game. If they can see the space to drive into it, give them confidence that they can drive into that and make the split-second decisions, or I see the pass, I'll play it. But alternatively, to drive with the ball and take advantage of that space, keep driving now. The defenders are so far pushed back, number 10 is so close to the goal, it makes sense to have a shot here. He's left the passing options, which is fine because there was space to go into. Could have played that pass earlier, but he didn't. Now he's in this situation. He can shoot. He or she can shoot and take advantage of it. In this scenario, you score. Obviously, not always going to score, but you're in a dangerous position near the goal. And through the training, through the practicing, players are going to be in the training. You're going to want them shooting from distance. Keep testing that keeper when they're not expecting it. The keeper's going to be looking, there's players in the way, anything could happen. And the keeper won't always expect the shot. And that's half the time, that's what catches them out. So that is the end of the final example for what this training session and video has been about.